And we'll bring you more details later on. So let's bring it back to studio. Franklin Mukwanja and Charles Kipkule, who are both political analysts, are with me. And before we wrap this up, gentlemen, we're talking about the NASA rally later on today in Kisii. And you had your thoughts about this question of the tallying and, of course, the sentiments we've been able to hear from the NASA camp regarding the matter before court. They have declared if it's overturned, then they will boycott the election.
That is a dangerous statement, in my opinion, because, well, you are polarizing the country at a moment when we are going into an election based on experiences in the past where such utterances erode the public confidence in the IBC. So if today, for example, the court rules in favor of the IBC, then what happens to NASA, essentially, if they go? Because, of course, the threats that they are not going to participate in the elections is just posturing. We know that they'll still be in the ballot. But now, going to the ballot under that, with that cloud of threats and maybe having expressed themselves that they don't believe
demonstrations and protests.
Yeah, those demonstrations and protests, then they are taking the country back. And we are at the moment where we have a newly constituted IBC which has not been tested, essentially. And the only thing that we can accord them is the benefit of doubt that they can deliver. So if you go into this election already expressing doubts on their abilities and even casting aspersions on them based on a judicial process, then we are really taking the country back. And my thought is that since the establishment of the IBC chairman has been the national returning officer. And NASA has given its reason as to why they feel that that should not be, that this result should be declared at the constituency level. But again, we have seen a situation where in Kenya, some polling centers in areas that are conceived to be dominated by one political extraction return even 99%, 99.9 or even 100% results, which is abnormal.
Right.
So this thing is only to guard for any potential malpractice. So the situation is, what if a wrong result is declared at the constituency level and it is deemed final as per that ruling? Then we are not giving time for any redress.
All right. And finally, do you think some of the troubles and challenges that Kalonzo Musyoka, the running mate, has faced in his backyard pose any challenge or issue to the coalition NASA?
Of course, it's becoming very clear that the weakest link in NASA coalition in terms of amassing the number of votes that they need on 8th of August to be declared winners is increasingly becoming Kalonzo's backyard, Ukambani. And for the reasons that Kalonzo himself raised the stakes quite high, and then there was that understanding of 2013, which was tossed aside. Then you have an emergence of new brand politicians in the mold, form, and shape of Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua. And then you also have an onslaught of the Jubilee government in that area, where you have seen the Wiper Party, just as an indication, didn't have very, active nomination party primaries. In Ukambani, quite a number of elected leaders either got their, they got their nomination as direct ticket, or they didn't just have competitors. And even in Jubilee, we haven't seen that a lot. So there's a lot of already positioning, and you may comfortably then conclude that there's only at the ballot that will have the voter determining which way to go. Because the primaries weren't very clear to be able to tell whether this is a zone that is becoming jubilated or whether this is a zone that is firmly NASA. And you can go back to 2013 and you can get to the fact that the region boldly, decisively voted for CORD. And whether Kalonzo still has that charm offensive to recapture the region is something that can only be determined on the 8th of August because no politics has been done yet.
All right, Franklin Mukwanja, Charles Kipkule, thank you very much for joining us. We're taking a break here on News Center. We'll be back in a moment.